A nominal rate, that's a fancy term for the rate of return that's commonly observable. It's the rate that we've been working with all along, and it captures the rate at which value of an investment or some other asset compounds or is discounted. So again, it's the rate that we've been using the entire course. And what it captures is how much more money we have or how much less money we have. So think about it this way. If we have $1 at the start of a period, how much would we have at the end of the period? 1 plus the nominal rate. So if the nominal rate was 5% and at the beginning of the period we had $1, we took it to the bank, at the end of the period we'd have $1.05. We'd have 5% more. Inflation. Inflation captures the overall change in prices. It's how much more expensive stuff is or how much less expensive stuff is. And a way to think about it is you have a basket of goods, which is what economists like to talk about all the time, and it costs $1 at the start of the period. At the end of the period, how much would it cost? 1 plus the inflation rate, dollars. So again, suppose a basket of good costs $1, and suppose inflation was 3%. That same basket at the end of the period would now cost $1.03. So the new concept is the real rate, and the real rate captures changes in the purchasing power. And what it does is it takes inflation into account. So nominal is how much more money you have, but inflation takes into account how much the change in prices is. So real rate incorporates all that and captures how much more stuff we can buy. So suppose at the beginning of a period we could buy one basket of goods, and suppose the real rate was 2%, then at the end of the period we would be able to buy 1.02 baskets of goods. We can buy 2% more stuff. So that's an introduction to nominal rate, real rate, and inflation. Let's take a look at some of the equations. The kind of the basic one for the real rate comes from this expression, 1 plus the real rate. So again, the way to think about it is we start with $1 and a basket of goods costs $1. 1 plus the real rate caps. So if that's the case, if it starts with $1 and a basket of good costs $1, then in the beginning of the period we can buy one basket because they cost $1 and we have $1. 1 plus the real rate captures how much baskets we can buy at the end of the period, and it's simply 1 plus the nominal rate, which captures that our $1 has now become 1 plus the nominal rate, but we divide by 1 plus the inflation rate because that's how much a basket of goods costs. So if you simply subtract 1, you get a nice expression for the real rate. The nominal rate. 1 plus the nominal rate reflects how much money we have. How much money we have at the end of the period, or if we started with $1 at the beginning of the period, at the end of the period we have 1 plus the nominal rate, and it reflects 1 plus the real rate, which captures, at the beginning of the period we could buy one basket for $1. So 1 plus the real rate captures how many more baskets we can buy. But the price of those baskets may have changed, so we want to multiply it by 1 plus the inflation rate to take into account the fact that the price of the baskets changed. So suppose the baskets went up in price, which is more common to have positive inflation. 1 plus the nominal rate reflects how much more money we have, which is enough to buy this much more, the real rate more baskets, when those baskets cost the inflation rate more than they did before. So the nominal rate takes into account both the fact that things are more expensive and the real rate is how much more of those we can buy, taking into account the fact that they're more expensive. So you subtract out 1, the nominal rate, 1 plus the real rate times 1 plus the inflation rate, subtract out 1. Finally, the inflation rate. 1 plus the nominal rate reflects, if we start out with $1 and a basket costs $1, we'd be able to buy one basket. 1 plus the nominal rate reflects how much more money we have. 1 plus the real rate reflects how many more, how many baskets we can buy. So 1 plus the nominal rate is how much money we have. 1 plus the real rate reflects how many baskets we can buy. So if we divide them, 1 plus the nominal rate divided by 1 plus the real rate, what accounts for the difference? The inflation rate. So again, the reason, let's say nominal rate is higher than the real rate, so we have more money. Let's say we have 10% more money, and we can only buy 7% more stuff. Why is that? It's because the prices of the stuff went up. And so again, we've got a nice equation here for inflation rate. How much more money we have divided by how much more stuff we can buy. Pull out the 1, so we're left with the inflation rate, which captures exclusively the change in the price, the basket of goods from the beginning of the period to the end of the period. So let's look at a couple of examples. Nominal rate on an investment was 5.9% and the inflation rate was 3.3. What was the real rate? So before getting to the solution, what we're saying is we had 5.9% more money, but stuff cost 3.3% more. So the real rate was how much more stuff could we buy? And so again, a way to think about it is if we started with $1 and we could buy one basket of good, one basket because it cost $1, at the end of the period we had $1.05.9, but that same basket now cost $1.03.3. So how many baskets could we buy? 1.0252. We could buy 2.52% more baskets. That's the real rate. Now we have an investment where the nominal rate's expected to be 3.3% and the real rate's expected to be 5.9. What's inflation expected to be? This is a case where we're actually going to get negative inflation. And we'll go through the numbers in a second, but before we do, what we're saying is we're going to have 3.3% more money, but we can buy 5.9% more stuff. And how does that work? That means the price of stuff went down. We had negative inflation. So again, we start with $1. Baskets are $1. We can buy one basket. At the end of the period, we have $1 and 3.3 cents because the nominal rate's 3.3. But we can buy 1.059 baskets because our real rate's 5.9%. So we can buy 5.9% more, which means 1 plus the inflation rate is 0.9754. So subtract 1, the inflation rate was negative 2.46%. So what that means is in the beginning we had $1, baskets cost $1, so we could buy one basket. At the end we had $1.03 cents. Baskets cost 97 cents, 97.54 cents or $0.9754. So we could buy 1.059 baskets. And finally, we know the real rate on an investment is expected to be 5.9%. Inflation is expected to be 3.3%. What's the nominal rate expected to be? So here, we expect to be able to buy 5.9% more stuff, and we expect the price of stuff to increase by 3.3%. So the nominal rate is going to reflect the fact that we can buy more stuff, and stuff has gotten more expensive. And so we'll see the nominal rate's 9.39% or 9.39% because, again, if we started with $1 that could buy one basket and it cost $1, then we would know that we could buy 1.059 baskets. We know that each basket cost $1 and 3.3 cents. So therefore, how much more money would we have to have? If we had $1, we'd be up to $1 and 9.39 cents. We'd have to have 9.39% more money than we started, which would be enough to buy 5.9% more baskets when those baskets' price has gone up by 3.3%.